I'm pretty sure most players by now know about Outriders Worldslayer, but I'm going to briefly go through it because the new features in this expansion are actually ridiculous. So at the top of the screen you'll see Ascension level, that's new, so is Apocalypse tier. There is now another 2 trees being Pax and Ascension, there's now Apocalypse gear, and there's a new endgame mode tied in with a 3-hour story that's going to cost you £30 to play. Well, I've been sat here for the last few hours playing Outriders, and I've been running expeditions just to try and move my Ascension tier up a little bit. And in that few hours, I've made progress on 1 tier. You can do it a little bit faster if you go through the Trial of Taria Gratar, the other endgame mode, but I prefer the expeditions because they're nowhere near as long. I don't have a lot of experience in the trial, and expeditions is just something that's been available since the launch of the game, so I'm more comfortable, and I do tend to actually enjoy them. However, playing through, it takes around, I'm going to say 10 to 12 full clears to actually reach the next Apocalypse tier, but as you progress further through them, because the cap is 40, it gets tougher and tougher. Your Ascension level goes up to 200, but that levels up okay. I still believe both leveling systems should be a little bit easier, but the thing that's really bugged me, and I mean I'm really annoyed with this, is leveling up your gear is so expensive. If we take a look, my helmet is level 52, chest is 53, legs are 52, gloves are 53, boots are 53. If we come over to weapons, 52, then I have a 53, and then my sidearm is 51. If we go and have a look at the dude over here that levels up your gear, the way it works, it's like, it pisses me off just looking at these fucking screens. Because if you come here and you see my level 52 helmet, if I go to level this up, it's going to cost me 1,400 anomaly extract, and there are ways to farm it, but it's all tedious grinding. I currently have 356, I went into an expedition, a full expedition run, and I went from 217 up to 356, so that's 139. So in order to get the right amount of anomaly extract, I'm going to have to run 11 different expeditions, and that's if I get Apocalypse tier gear to drop. Because at this level I get about 11 anomaly extracts every time I dismantle something. So if I don't get any, that's even less than 139. But if you look at if we go back into it quickly, if you look at the titanium and the drop pods, it's not even 70,000 drop pods to get this to level 53. And then you go into a base legendary piece of gear, and if we have a look at this, drop pod resources 174,000. So at exactly the same level, it's over double if you're not using anomaly extract. And I took my Seismic Commander's gear, I've got 3 pieces on, I took it all from level 50, 2 pieces up to 53, 1 up to 52, and it cost me 1.2 million drop pod resources roughly. It was very expensive. And the thing is, with the purple Apocalypse gear, it's actually a lot cheaper. If we go into this level 51 and we go to level it up, it's only 659 anomaly extract, and it's like 700 and something to take this from 52 to 53. So going in the rarity from epic up to legendary, it goes from like 700 up to 1400. I'm not sure if it's because it's a weapon and the helmet's a piece of gear. But if it's not based on gear and weapon, if they're similar sort of like costs for resources, then it'll be from epic to legendary. The difference is double, pretty much double. And that is so frustrating considering how little you get at this Apocalypse tier. You do get more as you play through. But then if we take a look at the Apocalypse tier rewards, they've been so lazy with this, and they charged £30 for this expansion. If we have a look, I'm currently tier 18. To go up, like at the moment on tier 18, chance for epic or for legendary items to be apocalyptic, 22%. If we go up to tier 40 and we have a look, that chance goes up to 55%, but it's exactly the same percentage for both rarities. They haven't even bothered changing percentages. You should be getting a lot more legendary stuff, and it should have a higher chance to be apocalyptic when you're at tier 40. It should not be the same for both rarities. They also do this sort of stuff and they confuse systems and make really dodgy systems with the expeditions themselves. But if you have a look at the bottom right of the screen where it says challenges and gains, reward for unlocking gear, rarity, legendary, weapon. Every single tier for this Apocalypse tier system will just grant you a legendary weapon. There is absolutely no difference in any of the tiers. You get the same thing every single fucking level. It's so lazy. When you're hitting tier 40, I think you should be awarded with something like 5 legendaries that are all guaranteed to be Apocalypse, or something like that. You're putting effort into a grind. You should be rewarded, and it should be way more than one legendary rarity weapon. It's nice to be given a weapon that is suited to your tier, but it's just so frustrating to see how lazy they've been with all these percentages and stuff. 55% for both epic and legendary to be apocalyptic, the same reward for every single tier. And that's not even the biggest part of it. The thing that really pisses me off the most of this is just you've got all these different features. It can be fun to play, it's not a full complaint. I have enjoyed actually sitting there playing. But it gets increasingly more frustrating because I know that the higher I get in my Apocalypse tier, the harder the game becomes, the enemies get better benefits. But not only that, the longer it takes, the slower your progression actually is. They did change it a little bit recently in a patch, but it hasn't done a lot. It was like a 10% grind decrease. But you're still going to be putting in a shitload of time to get leveled up. And the biggest problem for me is the fact that the multiplayer sucks balls. It's horrible on Outriders. Absolutely horrible. And it's not even the fact that oftentimes you'll search and you'll get chucked into the Outriders camp. I've even searched for an expedition and been put into the story. The thing is, when you search for an expedition, like, yeah, you can open up your group and you can get people to join you, but if you want to search for a different team, you don't want to be the host or anything like that, when you go into a match, you are playing on the Apocalypse tier of the other player, of the host. And typically, from what I've seen, that is anywhere between 3 and 5 Apocalypse tiers lower than what you are. I don't think I've actually successfully played an expedition where it's on the same Apocalypse tier as me, besides one. They are typically, when I was Apocalypse tier 17, I was being put in with 15s, 14s, 12s. It was ridiculous. I couldn't actually get a game where I could make personal progress because of the way they've set these systems up. A lot of the features in this game are ridiculous and they're made worse because of other problems. If I want to upgrade a piece of gear that's not apocalyptic, or not an apocalypse piece of gear, I then have to run, what would it be, from 52 to 53 is like 174k drop pod resources. I've got to then successfully run 4 expeditions. If I want to upgrade an apocalyptic piece of gear, say my legendary helmet, I've got to go and run 11 successful expeditions and hope and pray I get apocalypse gear to drop from the drop pod at the end so I can dismantle it and get the extra anomaly extract. There's just so much grinding you have to do, and it would be so much more enjoyable, a lot more fun if you could actually do it with other players. I've even been into expeditions recently where I have been lagging by myself, playing solo, and the frame rate is jumping around at probably about 15 to 20 FPS. It's fun and enjoyable when it's all working properly, but there's not a lot of times you'll play expeditions or anything in this game for that matter where you are going to have everything working smoothly. The game has ridiculous new features, the amount of grind that you have to do to actually make decent progress, and what are you progressing for? You make progression in this expansion to have higher damage numbers. That is all you get. And in turn, you're dealing more damage, but the enemies are dealing more damage and they're taking more damage. So there's no actual real progression. It's an artificial grind. I don't know what PCF were thinking, putting shit like this into the game and charging the amount of money they did. But as always, the players of looter shooters and just gamers in general have fallen for it yet again. But check this video out if you want to see other Outriders content from the channel. That's going to do it for this one. I'll see you in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.